Good, good. How you doing, Kevin?
Can't complain. How about you, Yannick?
Pretty good, pretty good. Had a really good day today. So, yes, sir. How are you guys? How are you, Brian?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's been a while.
Yeah.
How things down there on the East Coast?
Yeah, just one day at a time here in New York.
Yeah, how
Where are
life
you
is.
based out of?
DFW, Dallas.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's
I think
nice.
yeah, for today's topic, we're gonna talk about algorithms and how they affect people's lives, and not really like programming algorithms, but more so like like when you go on YouTube, there's a certain algorithm, or you post on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Or when you scroll through Instagram, whatever comes to your feed, I guess.
Instagram
Right.
too. Yeah, Instagram too.
Yeah, everything these days is controlled by the algorithm, and like if you don't know the how the algorithm works, you're pretty much gonna lose.
Yeah, I mean, my experience with the Google algorithm, I used to have a company out in Los Angeles called Los Angeles Drum Lessons and Hand Percussion, and pretty much I I made the page. I made my Google listing a while ago. I was getting reviews on it, and then I moved. I was in Connecticut for a little bit. I moved out to LA, and the lessons were coming in. The phone calls were coming in, and then all of a sudden, Google changes their algorithm. And then all of a sudden, I go from like the second slot to the second page. So I was coming up like second in the Google grid, and then they moved me back to like the second page of it. So it's like the old saying: if you're not first, you're last.
So I guess
Right.
what determines, I guess, other than, I mean, do you have to pay to get to be ranked higher?
No,
Because if that's the
no,
case,
it's
then
just no. It's not based on that. That would be nice if you could pay and boost yourself up, but I think it's all just based on SEO.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they have like certain criteria you have to fulfill, and the more of that criteria you fulfill, the higher it moves you up.
Right.
But like if you don't know the criteria, then like you say, you're just gonna be stuck on the second and third page, and nobody usually goes that far.
Because someone had told me, oh well, what Google did is they took the people who were kind of gaming the SEO system, like because by naming my business Los Angeles Drum Lessons and Hand Percussion, having Los Angeles in the title of it was giving me higher search results. So it's almost like hacking the SEO. But so I heard that Google they started. Basically reprimanding people, started penalizing people for doing that, and that's why I ended up on the second page.
So how can they reprimand you for putting Los Angeles in your SEO? I don't know.
That's just what I heard. That if you put the city name in your business name, that it's like frowned upon.
That doesn't sound right. But I mean, so
Yeah,
I guess
I know.
the whole point of it isn't the whole point of it to know like the right keywords
Right.
to put in your SEO and just I don't know. Is it based on luck? I mean, because how are other people doing it and just being constantly ranked, higher up on the first
I don't
page?
know. Well, I mean, there are these people who are quote SEO experts, and you got to pay them a lot of money to get your site listed like top three.
Yeah, it's usually like a combination of tags and different things like that, like different things you can do to make your site appear higher in the listing. But if you don't know the criteria, then you're just pretty much basing it on luck. And if you don't know, then you're on the second and third page, then you're never going to get seen. I think that's the big problem.
So
Yeah, that's the problem. So like I never regained footing with my listing. I stayed on the second page, and I just started getting less and less calls from my business.
So I guess if you don't have the money to pay an SEO expert, you pretty much have to like try to figure that out on your own.
Correct.
Interesting. How hard is it to learn SEO techniques?
I don't know. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with that space. But
Oh, with SEO and all that?
yeah, I'm not like super familiar with that.
Yeah.
So, but I'm a little more familiar with LinkedIn. I know like if you don't know the LinkedIn algorithm, then you're just gonna get your posts are gonna get buried. You're not gonna get any kind of traction.
Yeah, I mean that's what's been happening to me real recently because I mean I have a sizable audience on LinkedIn. I have 50,000 followers, which I think that's a decent amount, right? But my posts now are barely getting any reach. I'll make a post about whatever, and I'll get like 300 impressions only. When you figure, okay, out of 50,000 followers, why am I only getting 300 impressions on a post?
Right. Yeah. So I spent over like $1,000 taking a course by Hala Taha. She's like a LinkedIn expert, and she breaks
Right.
all the steps down that you need to gain visibility. But it's nothing you could just figure out on your own. Like you would have to like kind of like pay an expert for this knowledge to really know how to be viral.
And what were some of those things you learned?
I mean, one of the things is like it's all about like people reposting your post, like sharing it, and
Right.
like they have to engage early as well. So if
Right. The
people are
early,
just like
see, that's
scrolling past your
that's what I've mainly noticed. The early engagement and the shares early on really are what, if the post is going to die or if it's going to flourish.
Well, I mean, so there has to be like I'm pretty sure there are techniques and there are guides out there that can tell you what posts are what posts people like to view or people typically do. People post, are you posting a combination of, I don't know, text and pictures? Are you doing videos? Uh, are you doing these little
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I'll link video, I'll link YouTube, or I'll link my drum lesson website.
the posts that I see, to me, that a lot of people react to, those posts that are kind of
Like a
like
question
yeah,
post.
yeah, like a question, and then there's like a slide. There's like a slide, and then you could like slide to the left to get like the answer, or like 5 reasons why you aren't making it today. Let's say that in your job,
Right.
and then you slide to the rest. You get reason number one, and you keep sliding until you get to like the fifth one. Those are like those are really super like engaging for people, I think. Maybe try some of those sometime and see how those work. And then also, people, you have to like be able to like pull people in with a, I forgot what they call it, like your initial statement, like your
Like a
push
hook.
post, yeah, like a hook, right? Like
You need
you
something
maybe
that's going to hook people to your post.
yeah. You're in music, you know this. You're a drummer, so you know. So you might be talking about drumming, but then I guess I would have to like think about a way. I can't really think of a way on the fly right now. But yeah, like hook them in
Well,
with
yeah,
something.
Kevin has mentioned to me before. He's like, if you're going on LinkedIn and your network is primarily software developers and programmers, if you're talking about, music lessons, it's kind of like going on there and saying, selling fish or something. It's not really relevant to your audience base.
Well, so one a good way LinkedIn.
Torada asked the question, like, do y'all think Twitter is better for software devs?
Um, Twitter is good for a lot of different groups, but it could be good for software devs. And I don't think LinkedIn is bad for software devs. Uh, I think Twitter is good for like driving a conversation. Um, I guess live, really in real time about different topics. So in that regard, yes, it could be good for software devs, like talking about the latest features of or latest software in on the market. It's really good to drive conversation. I believe. I
I
don't think
think
a lot of people.
Twitter's good for any industry, I would say.
Right. I don't think a lot of people like go like scroll all the way down through the comments of the link, scroll more on Twitter because you want to see what other people are saying. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're trying to do. Like you're trying to, if you want software news or you want to be a influencer, then maybe Twitter, but LinkedIn is way better if you're just looking for like jobs and that kind of thing.
Oh, for sure. If you're looking for work, LinkedIn is going to beat out Twitter.
Yeah, because I even think like for software developers, LinkedIn is better if you want to be like a viral software developer because that's where
Right.
most of them are because they want to see the latest jobs and things of that nature. For Twitter, you can only
Well,
post like 150 characters or something, so you can't really even get deep.
Right. And also
and
like
I know that when I was entering the tech industry, people told me, oh, if you're a programmer, you got to get on LinkedIn. You got to build your following. These are just things you need to do.
well, I mean that's a good thing to do. Join groups. If you're in a group of like if you like
Right.
Angular, if you're a contributor to the community, yes. Like if you're in an Angular group on LinkedIn and then you're a frequent contributor, right? That's good, right? LinkedIn is a good place for if you have a product or if you have a specific like technology that you
Right.
are that you follow and that you're always like following all the developments in this technology in that space of that technology, then yeah, um, it's good to really talk about that a lot on LinkedIn. And for me, it's like Kevin was saying just now. Obviously, if you want to start like a drummer business or whatever,
Yeah.
maybe start joining some musician groups, on LinkedIn.
Right.
But yeah. So I guess if you have a software product, or if you are, you know, you have a specific thing that you're passionate about, LinkedIn would be the perfect place, right? Because then you can be seen over time. You can be seen as like, maybe a knowledge expert in that area. But
Right.
the
Or
same,
people that get like top voice ratings. You ever see those? Top voice in like software
yeah,
development or top
yeah,
voice
yeah.
in recruiting.
Yeah. Like LinkedIn sends me some stuff out. I'm sure it sends a billion people these, but like
Yeah.
because of the things I talk about, and I don't post a whole lot on LinkedIn. I post maybe once every few months. But
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
posting multiple. I'm posting multiple times a day.
right. But that's what I'm getting at, right? Like you have to like so you what you're doing is good. You post a lot. You have to like do the grunt work up front. Because remember, you're not coming in, which is probably another issue. You're not coming in like someone who's and they put one post out there like and then everyone just reads their post, like starts following that person. Like if what's
Right.
the guy's name on Shark Tank, the black dude, Fugu dude, what's his name? um, Dame Damon John, is that his name?
Damon John, the Fugu
Yeah,
guy.
like when Damon John posts something on LinkedIn, like everyone, like it's probably hundreds or even like
Yeah.
thousands of likes, right? So I mean, you're not Damon John, so you have to start somewhere, right? And then there's I guess if you want to say that's an unfair advantage, sure, whatever. But there's some people that are really famous that they really don't have to do this type of work to like get the attention, but you have to.
So, so,
Eventually, what I believe will happen is that eventually LinkedIn will start to, you'll start getting the attention of the people that that of the right type of people. But you have
So
to like
on
also join those groups, and you have to comment on other people's posts that are posting posts like
so
yours.
on
You
Oh,
know,
and
LinkedIn,
I do that.
you
I do
shouldn't
that.
on LinkedIn you shouldn't post multiple times a day because it's it might seem counterintuitive, but your posts are competing with each other, and they're kind of based on velocity. So if you have like two posts back to back, they're going to be competing, stealing attention from each other, and therefore like they're not going to get propelled by the algorithm.
How'd
So
you
like
find that out?
well,
that course.
that's a different angle.
Oh, the course you took. Okay, that's
So you
interesting.
so you see what I'm saying? Like
I need to
you
scale back. I need to scale back.
But
yeah,
check
you have
this:
to.
if the algorithm changes, then yeah, like you're floating up the creek without a paddle. Then because like if the algorithm changes from that model, then how is that going to help? You know what I mean?
Well,
You have to see
that's
what the
ultimately the
algorithm is.
question. That's the question here.
So yeah, you should scale back and focus on quality. Like
And like you've mentioned to me before, try to just be more relevant to the network base that I have, which is primarily software developers.
right, because think about okay, say you're a steakhouse. It doesn't make sense if you're advertising to a vegan group because it's not relevant to
Yeah,
them.
right. It's just not relevant.
So yeah, like whatever type of audience you're trying to be a part of, that's what you cater your post to. So like music lessons, you probably gotta find out who would be interested in that.
Right. And I guess like for my video game music, now that I'm adding video game developers and people in the game industry, I have more of a chance of connecting with like-minded people on these posts.
Right. Yeah, that would fit in more than like general programmers because video game
Correct.
music is relevant to what they're doing, which is like making games.
Yeah, and I mean, people in the video game industry love what they do. There's not a lot of jobs in the game industry, so you really have to want it.
And it also
Exactly.
you gotta like know what people are really interested in. But I mean, like AI these days, AI is like in everything. So I'm pretty sure AI is in your space too. So maybe some interesting post about that. See where that
Oh,
gets you.
talk about AI, you're saying?
Well, I'm not saying you have to talk about AI, but I'm just saying that's a
Yeah,
trend in the market. That's something that's
for sure. For
common
sure. It's
nowadays. So
relevant. It's
it's
definitely
relevant.
relevant.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure it's in your space too. So, in the music space, obviously, there's nothing that AI they're not trying to get AI into these days. So,
Well, yeah, it's like you go on LinkedIn now and it says, do you want AI to help you write your post?
I can do that all by myself.
Right.
If I want AI, like I mean, if I want AI to help me with like writing the post, I can find other ways to. But yeah, I mean, exactly like I'm saying, it's like that, right?
Well,
It's in
like you
everything.
probably use like Chat GPT if you're going to try to ask some questions
Right.
to AI.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's crazy, man. Like if you don't know the algorithm, you're always gonna get buried. Like even on YouTube, I'm sure we could get a lot more views if we learned like the proper hashtags, proper titles, thumbnails. Like you have to cater to the algorithm.
For sure.
Like even with your business, like you were on the first page, but then the algorithm changed, and now you're on the second and third page getting zero views.
Getting zero views because that's the problem. You're not first, you're last when it comes to marketing, when it comes to Google, especially. Because, like, think about it. If you type in a search term on Google, first you're going to get hit up with like 3 to 4 to 5 sponsored ads. Then, after those sponsored ads, you're going to get hit with the Google grid, which will show you the top three. And then below that starts the actual organic search results.
Right. So yeah, I definitely say it makes a lot of sense to spend time to learn the actual algorithm. You can't you have a great product, but if nobody sees it, then it's just going to get hidden. It's not going to be successful. So you have to learn the algorithm.
That's the problem. Yeah. And it's tough because you learn the algorithm and then Google goes and changes it and then you don't know what to do to get back on the first page.
You just gotta
Right.
learn it again.
Yeah, you definitely have to stay on top of it because yeah, things do change. Because I think what LinkedIn recently changed from like usually can make like motivational posts and get a ton of
Yeah.
traction. And now it has to be like topical based, like people are engaging and discussing. It can't just be motivational.
Yeah, because I would post something like from Tony Robbins, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, all different types of like positive quotes, and they used to get a lot of impressions. I get like 1,500 impressions on a post, maybe like at least 5, 6 comments, a bunch of likes. But now, if I do that same post from like Gandhi or whoever, Michael Jordan, I'm gonna get like 127 impressions, maybe a like, maybe a comment, and probably no reshares.
Right. Yeah. I think it's a combination of both. Like people are getting sick of that kind of content and low relevance. And since that's the case, LinkedIn is burying those posts as well. Because, like if it's just a bunch of motivational posts everywhere, then people are going to stop coming to the platform. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't have any relevance to their field.
So you think they just decided within the algorithm to say, all right, inspirational posts, we're no longer going to push these?
Yeah, that. And I think a lot of people are not reacting to it anymore because, I mean, if you've seen one Michael Jordan quote, you've probably seen 10 of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is this going to help me further my career? Like, oh, hey guys, work hard and make sure you practice every day. It's like too generic.
Yeah, too generic. I get that. But I mean, like you said, these inspirational posts used to work. They used to get traction, and now they don't.
Yeah, that's a thing. Like if your engagement is starting to get low, your visibility low, you gotta try something else or like kind
Change
of follow
things
the
up.
experts. Follow the
And I
experts
mean,
who know the algorithm.
Right.
does
Right.
that doesn't the algorithm take into account how many followers you have? I mean, how many followers do you have? Like
I would
5,000, like
think.
50,000?
Well, yeah. So I have 50,000, but
Right.
like I said, I'll do a post. Just, I mean, this could be any kind of post, any topic, and I'm only getting like 300 impressions, one like, one comment. It just doesn't make sense for the number of followers that I have. I should be getting, in my eyes, I should be getting more reach. But LinkedIn, within the past couple of months, changed the algorithm and they're severely limiting my reach now.
Exactly. Like LinkedIn followers don't matter. Like you can have like 10,000 and then you make a post, maybe one person comment.
Yeah.
It's just completely different than like YouTube or you know, I even think like YouTube and those platforms, like subscribers don't matter as much because I be seeing people who buy like subscribers, they got like 1 million, but they have like 1,000
Yeah.
views on a video.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
so I mean, okay. So the algorithms, well, I don't know if this is part of the algorithm, but LinkedIn often sends me like, hey, why don't you follow this person? They talk about stuff that you may be interested in. When I look at the person, it's Chris Paul, it's Cam Newton, it's I don't know, RG3, it's some famous person, right? And you know, I've never, I mean, how does the algorithm know that I'd like to follow Chris Paul, right? So I think those people have a leg up, right? Like people that are like super famous. I think
Oh,
you know,
sure. For
it
sure they do.
Yeah,
so
LinkedIn is gonna promote, or any social media is gonna promote them because they draw people to the platform. Like, oh, Drake posts here, so they just gonna boost. Amani had a couple of comments, so you have to know how to be a trendsetter based on what is popular on social media at any given moment. You have to learn the algorithm based on the best ROI for Google. Remember that Humans prefer novelty. The algorithm will follow trends. You have to combine several factors to make predictions. Random topic selections are dead in water. Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
definitely agree.
I, I, I,
100%.
I totally agree, but I think, if you have a specific thing that you want to talk about, right? Like then, because say you have to know how to be a trendsetter based on what is popular on social media at a given time. So how do you become a trendsetter uh, for based on what's popular? Maybe what your product is not what's popular, but it's your product, right?
Well,
Maybe
like you
you're
said, though,
sell,
AI. AI is relevant
right.
right now. So if you can somehow tie AI into your post, it's more likely to get some traction.
Right, right. Well, yeah, I guess you'd have to figure out things that are adjacent to what you're trying to get people to focus on, but you might just simply have a product or a thing that no one's really interested in. And so maybe LinkedIn is not the space for that, right? Like maybe LinkedIn is not the space. Maybe you need to build your product and test it, or promote it in a different environment, in a different, like,
Well,
with
like, yeah,
different set
so
of people. Then when
music,
the
I think,
product when the when the pro now, I didn't mean to cut you, but when the product becomes, when you get to a certain level and it's known enough, then you still do what you do on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn maybe not like the best place, or the main place shouldn't be like the main place for you to like.
yeah, and it's not. I mean, mainly I'm using Instagram for my social media marketing.
Yeah, yeah, like what Imani said, like it gets granular, what aspect of AI, not just AI in general, but again,
Very
so like
true.
all, yeah,
Very true.
and this is my thing. There's a lot of like, I think it's a if you're looking to do it to, I don't know, as like it should be supplementing what you're already doing, right? Because
Right.
um, it's a losing battle if this is like if that you dependent on this algorithm to really get you out there. But sorry, I was reading her other or other comment, but you it can't be your main thing, right? It's a losing battle, I think,
Yeah.
because every like the world, the markets out there are so saturated with everything, right? That like look at podcasts, right? Like every famous person nowadays is doing a podcast. How can
Yeah.
a regular guy like me, you know, do a podcast now and expect to really like get like a major following? I have to find something that people want to talk about and just do it because of that, right? Not
Right.
necessarily talk about the thing that I'm passionate about. But I guess if you want
Because it could be
followers, then
relevant. It could be relevant to people, but it could also completely not be relevant, is what you're
it could
saying.
completely, yeah, because you might want your podcast to grow, but it could completely miss like the majority of people. But you do it
Yeah.
because it's your passion. Obviously, I'm not telling you not to do something, because do it because it's your passion. But if you want to do a podcast, then you know uh, and you don't necessarily have a topic, then I think then you can like think about like trends and what should we talk about, and try to like do your own market research, and figure out what people will listen to. But if most people you know are, even those people are going to be defeated by famous people that are just getting into podcasts nowadays. I mean, you name them, all a lot of famous people are getting into podcasts, and there's just milking money because you and I, we're the consumers. We're just consuming that stuff, and we're actually making them even more famous. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, if you're gonna start a new podcast, then you probably have to be in a niche that's underserved, or you just got to be consistent because, uh, you know, people. It takes time for people to, know when you're on, and then, they have to sample your content and say, "Oh, I like this," and then they start coming on, inviting friends. It's like time and relevance, I feel.
Right, for
Yeah,
sure. And like you've mentioned, we're trying to get more consistent with this podcast so people can more so tune in live. We're trying to do every Tuesday and Friday night at 8 p.m. EST.
yeah, and to what Kevin said, it's like I was just, I mean, I'm kind of saying the same thing over again, but if you want to do a podcast that's about something that you are passionate about some topic you want to share, some topic that you're passionate about, it could be a product or whatever, then do that, right? But just know that it's going to be extremely exponentially harder for you that to get that podcast out there unless it's something that people really want or really want to hear about, right? And
Sure.
so
So Armani said, to me, it is the same methodology as investing. The person that can predict trends and recognize patterns based research will ultimately be the winner. What do y'all think?
I think that's if you just want to be an investor, right? Or if you or if you just want to be a generalist like podcaster, then yes, go ahead, find what the trends are, recognize the patterns, do your research, and it even then nothing's guaranteed, but it might that may fare better for you. But on the other hand, if you're not going down the generalist route and you want to like do something that's niche that you are interested in, then it's much harder to win in that situation. And in this by win I mean like get a crazy ton of followers, make a lot of money off of your following, that type of stuff. People have done it, but it's just much harder now to do that. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
And that's something that me and Kevin have talked about with my LinkedIn. It's like, okay, I have 50,000 followers, but how am I monetizing that follower base?
So I have some ideas about that. We can talk about offline, but well, or some ways that you can probably, um, I guess, garner more attention on, you know, with the things that you do, like this services or product that you're offering. But we can talk about that offline.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I think right now, like that the number of followers on LinkedIn is pretty much just clout. Like you can leverage it to, get in contact with people who otherwise wouldn't pay attention to you. Cause like, oh, you got 50,000 followers, but like on LinkedIn, that doesn't really mean anything because your posts don't get
Right.
blasted to all 50,000. So
Imagine if it did, though.
yeah, that would be, people would pay you to make posts about them.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's crazy because like if you don't know the algorithm, it's going to be hard for you to get a job too because your posts aren't getting seen, your resume's not getting seen, you're not getting past the AI filter.
For sure.
But when you were a technical recruiter, right? Like y'all use certain filters to filter out the massive pile of resumes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like what were some of the filters, or like how did that process go?
I mean, usually you use like taglines, like you'd search for Angular or Python. You make sure that you're including tags.
Okay, so it's like specific keywords that are technology based.
Correct.
So Armani says it is like an example I saw on YouTube. People starting to post reaction videos on the K-pop group BTS, whether they like or know BTS or not. BTS is such a huge following that any post about BTS would generate huge views. Yeah, I do see like a lot of the K-pop reaction channels have blown up. Like people got like millions, like a million followers just reacting to K-pop.
Just like reaction channels, you're saying?
Yeah, like you're playing a video and reacting to it.
Right, right.
Reaction videos are kind of kind of funny to me. They're weird to me. Like online is just a weird place these days. But yeah, I mean there's absolutely no value in that other than like obviously the followers, the people that watch that stuff and consume it and generate money for those people and generate obviously more money for YouTube and these platforms. But like personally, no value for me. So I don't even like watch stuff like that really. So might see something, but I mean, this is what you're competing with, though, right? Like this is what you're competing with. Like you want to put something out there that's of real value, that's something that's of real substance, and you know, you're fighting against things like this. Like who needs a reaction video? But learning to play the drums maybe something a lot more fulfilling. So that's just my thoughts on that.
And I think like when it comes down to it, we have to cater to what people want, not what we want. You know what I mean? Like reaction videos is kind of like lows. It's not like an intellectual, high value type thing, but I guess after work, people don't want to watch like philosophy videos. They want to just like chill out and feel like they're in somebody's living room. So, that caters to a specific audience. You know what I mean? I think you just got to
Well,
pick.
that's like Joe Rogan. He's probably like what the most famous podcaster right now.
Right.
And it's just kind of like you're in his living room and he's talking to a buddy, and the buddy is going on about some really highly technical stuff, and then Joe Rogan's just breaking it down like, okay, well, I see what you're saying, but what about this?
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
but that's a conversation between two people that and it's one of them is probably an expert in something, and if not, it's probably two highly intelligent people that you can really like. I don't know necessarily learn something from, but it would be an interesting conversation, right? Like you'll get something from that conversation at the end of the day. What do you get from reaction videos? You know what I mean?
Well, for reaction videos, I'll say you get entertainment. Like, 'cause sometimes people just need to decompress. You know what I mean? Like, just watching a cartoon or something, you might not get educational value out of it, but it helps you like decompress. You know what I mean? So, like, there's value in it, but it's not like purely intellectual. It's more like helping people relax. It's almost like taking a drink. It's like the intellectual equivalent of, you know, throwing back a shot. You just watching some low engagement type of video. Like,
Yeah,
do I
yeah.
want to? Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, I totally get it. I totally understand. Like from that standpoint, I understand what it is to like to do that, be in that state, and need something like that. Like it's like you said, the equivalent of like taking a shot or like just I don't know, just. But like I said, it's there are much better ways, obviously, to do that than to I don't know. But I'm just saying that from for him posting and trying a lot of people out there are trying to get their content out there, and this content is you know it has intrinsic value, right? Like it's good stuff, right? Like a conversation between Joe Rogan and his expert buddy, and I don't know, uh, the Byzantine Empire, right? So that to me offers more substance, and all I'm saying is that that's what you're competing with. You're competing with a world that you know where a reaction video will have 10 million views. I don't know, maybe that number is way too big, but and a video on I don't know how to or your videos, that may be able to like offer people something else, something more like maybe push down the list, right? Like that's your competition. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that people
Right.
shouldn't find ways to like decompress and all that, right? Now, as a matter of fact, there's some really bad ways that people can decompress with. Like just turn the thing off, really. But I'm just saying that's what you're competing with out there because you're competing with lower quality stuff. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. You're competing with
Yeah.
lower quality stuff, and that kind of sucks. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. And like, so my content is primarily drum videos, drum lesson videos, or just live performances of me playing. And while that might be interesting to me, it's probably not interesting to a lot of people in my LinkedIn network.
Right. It's all about relevance. So, like what Armani says, Joe Rogan has his finger on the pulse of the demographic that listens to him. He doesn't just choose any expert, know your audience. So yeah, like I think with the drum thing, it's the audience that's kind of, the mismatch of audience and what you're offering.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's, I said this earlier. I said maybe LinkedIn is not the place, but yeah, you got to, like, maybe you're fishing in the wrong pond, right? So no,
Yeah.
maybe like, let's say LinkedIn is the ocean, but like maybe you're
Well,
fishing
I
in
got
the
the wrong fish. I got the
right.
wrong
You got
fish. They're all
yeah, you
programmers. All
right.
programmers.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, so like if LinkedIn's the world, then you're fishing in like the wrong ocean or sea or the wrong river. Like you
Correct.
got to,
Right.
there are those people on there, right? But you have to figure out how to find them. Um, and I like, and LinkedIn may not even be like the best place for that. Twitter might actually be better for that. But
Yeah.
like I said, have you ever watched like videos of um, like people like doing guitar rips on YouTube? I don't know how many videos. I used to watch them, but I never really pay attention to the followings. But uh, stuff like that is pretty engaging. What is she saying? She said, "Look at the topics covered on Joe Rogan's show. These are the people that made dispensaries happen on every street corner." She's funny. Yeah, man. Like she's saying though, you got to know your audience and then cater to them. You know. And
Yeah. I
then
think,
once you get there, gain that traction, then you can start to like do like crossover into other areas. You know.
yeah. With Joe Rogan, I feel like he's good at it. He'll take content that's not normally catered to an audience and he'll break it down for them. Like, normal people are not interested in simulation theory, but he'll simplify it to make it engaging. So I think
And,
that's a great skill. Go ahead.
yeah. So and also right, like I mean, we're talking about like the audience and the content, but sometimes it's also like the person too, right? Like no, like being a good storyteller, right? Or the production, like how you produce your stuff, like how do you, what's your intro, like are you
Well,
telling a
you hit on
story?
it right there. The storytelling. The
Yeah,
storytelling is a huge part of podcasts.
are you telling an engaging story? Some people that do shorts of like Joe Rogan. Why we talk so much about Joe Rogan? Because he's so famous and he's figured it out. But yeah,
Yeah, he's figured
storytelling.
it out exactly.
If you can find a way, if you can figure out how to like tell a really compelling story, it doesn't have to be a long story. It's just beginning of what you're saying, or make it a part of your entire whatever it is that you're delivering to your viewers. Then I feel like that's another way to get people engaged. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his audience is definitely normal people, but I think his skill is taking topics that wouldn't normally interest them and breaking it down and simplifying so they can consume it. But yeah, I think like Yannick also mentioned with the drum lessons, LinkedIn is not the right place for that because like if you're looking for drum lessons, you're not gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna go to LinkedIn because that's a career site.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I
That
think
that's that's why that's why I don't follow Chris Paul on LinkedIn. I'm like, why am I following Chris Paul on LinkedIn, bro? Like, come on, chill. Like LinkedIn,
right.
don't send me.
Yeah, I think you might do better with like YouTube shorts or TikTok.
TikTok, probably. Yeah, I gotta spend more time on TikTok.
So there's an idea right there. Like, so TikTok, I thought you were TikTok already. So might be a great place for you to like
I
really
only
bring.
just joined it like a couple days ago because me and Kevin were talking about it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not on there."
I mean, obviously you'll run into the algorithm problem on all of these, but still, like they're just where like the market that you're selling in matters, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. The more you know the particular algorithm for a platform, the more successful you'll be. Yeah, I think that's it's a pretty good place to end it. Do y'all have any closing thoughts?
I don't know if Imani has any closing thoughts. She's cracking up over here on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, does Amani have any closing thoughts for us?
Oh yeah, we'll have to send you the link, Amani, so you can join in next time.
All right, fellas. Oh, there she goes. She says,
Oh, wait, there we go.
what did she say?
See, you guys are talking about trying to figure that out manually. You need to aggregate of too many factors to do this scientifically.
Right, you are. Right, you
Yeah,
are.
we'll definitely send you the link so you can join us live next time.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But thanks, guys, for joining us, and thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time.
Thanks, guys.